choice is an important choice in who you send to Congress. The fate of the world is on our shoulders at this time, in this place. As Americans, we are uniquely situated to be part of the necessary solution to the most significant global challenge that we face. As you make this decision, not only in this race, also in the presidential race, also in the Senate race that we have here in Colorado, as well as the contributions you may or may not make to candidates across the country, I hope that you do consider that we need to elect people who not only have the right goals, but also the right tactics to get there. Tactics around effectively incentivizing the right kind of consumer behavior to drive down the use of energy in households. Tactics around finding ways to incentivize and invest in true renewable and sustainable development, both here and in the developing world. And also, critically, tactics around reducing and eliminating the influence that special interests wield through their donations and their PACs and their insular lobbyist apparatus in Washington, D.C. When we are talking about this issue, we are really talking about taking on the oil and gas industry. There is tremendous profits, billions, tens of billions of dollars in the status quo. They will invest whatever it takes to influence the political system to prevent an outcome that is to their detriment. The only answer to that is your diligence in supporting elected officials that not only are willing to take on the issues themselves, but also willing to support systemic reforms around breaking the back of the influence that the oil and gas industry wields in Washington. And that's what gets me excited every day about this opportunity to represent you. And I look forward to being your champion in Congress and bringing about real change.
As I said in my opening remarks, what a joy it would be to represent a district with the intellectual capacity to truly change this nation and change the world. And I don't say that lightly. There are facilities here that the representative from this district can learn from and bring that message to 434 other people on the floor of the United States Congress. There is a leadership role to be played by the person who represents this district. For my 5 years in leadership, I had a 100% voting record with the Colorado Conservation voters. That meant not only did I vote that way, but I brought votes to the table. I moved people in my caucus who didn't want to be there. I played a major role in the new Oil and Gas Commission, which meant that a broad swath of Coloradans would be represented at the table here in Colorado when we were regulating the oil and gas industry. Was the oil and gas industry happy with that? No, they were not. But we avoided 72 amendments on the floor of the Senate. We got that passed, and just yesterday, 2 environmentalists were appointed to that commission, and they were voted on by the Senate, and they will be sitting on that commission for making rules and regulations here in the state of Colorado. I want to just talk for a second about the role a president plays and the kind of constitutional breaches that have happened with the president who makes signing statements and says he will not enforce certain parts of legislation that has been constitutionally ordained by the Congress of the United States. And he's done it on environmental bills time and time again, and Congress has let him get away with it. And that's something that I would stand in front of you and pledge to you that constitutionally that I will be a pit bull on watching to make sure that no one, no president, no Democrat, no Republican, gets to violate the Constitution of the United States, and playing a role as an executive in the legislative branch is wrong, and he's let his administrative charges do it at the EPA, and it should never, ever have occurred.
I happen to think that this is our generation's greatest challenge that we face, dealing with our energy use and the impacts on our globe. As I mentioned earlier, I've got 3 kids, and I feel a deep sense of personal responsibility to do everything that I can to try to leave this world as good or better than how I found it. And so that's a big part of what drives me to run for Congress. You know, I think it's not just how we're going to vote on these issues. I think it's how we're going to lead and what we're going to lead on. People have asked me, Will, if you could only work on one thing when you go to Washington, what would it be? Just one thing. And these issues, energy and climate change. They are the defining issue of our time, and I think we have to have people who are going to roll up their sleeves every day and go to work on these things. So that's my commitment to you. I will go there. I will seek committee assignments on House Resources and Science and Technology, two committees that Mark Udall has been serving on, which is how you actually manifest your commitment on these issues when you go to Congress. I, too, am going to go to Congress unencumbered. I've raised a lot of money in this race, and it's about 99.7% from individuals. And so I'm not going to go there with a lot of baggage on my back to carry, and I'm committed to being an independent voice for you. So I think it's time for all of us to step up and do what it's ours to do to leave this place better for our children and for their children. And I look forward to do that for you in Congress. Thanks very much.